Hi, everyone. Welcome back to We Are USAHS Library interview series. And this is basically a series about interviewing and getting to know our library staff at the USAHS University institution. And today we have Esther Garcia with us.
Hi, Matthew.
How's it going?
Good.
Nice. So just to kind of get us started, dip our toes in the water, is to see about describing your job and kind of understanding what your role is at USAHS.
Hi. Yeah, thank you for that question. Thanks for having me on here.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself a reference and instruction librarian, and I'm based out of the Dallas campus here in North Texas. And so we're at the newest campus. We're a little bit over a year old. So we've been getting all of the library together in this last year since I've been here. And my favorite things to do for providing service is really reference in person, reference over email, reference over chat, and even reference live like we're doing now. So live person to person. I really love diving into research questions and digging in and getting all those keywords and journals and the different databases. I feel like my brain goes in all those different directions. So it's my favorite thing to do. I also do instruction regarding how the library works, how to do research, how to reach out to us. And in addition, I staff the library there at the Dallas campus. So there are, you need something from the Dallas campus library, call Esther.
Yeah, I know you were talking about like one of your favorite things is like, delving into the research needs of our students and faculty. And yeah, it always seems you might agree or feel the same is about like how different each topic, each like type of request is. And like, it's kind of like you have to learn it yourself in a lot of ways, right?
So true. So true. I learned this a long time ago, early in my career. And it's something that I've never forgotten, that being a reference librarian, you're really the detective of your patrons' happiness. So you're like finding clues as to what direction they're going in, and they won't tell you directly the way the research needs to go. For example, it's very easy to go on Google and ask how fast a cheetah runs and get that answer. But for deep research, that's not the question you're asking. And so when somebody gives you some clues, you start drawing it out through a reference interview, asking them, letting them know how interested we are. And so that's, yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I love how you describe it. It's like being a detective, and yeah, it immediately made me think like we're essentially Batman.
I've always thought I was just like Batman.
Awesome. So my next question to kind of follow up from that is like, how did you get started in working in libraries?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of us get to librarianship in different ways. But one of them is that I've heard a lot, and I think was definitely true for me, was not being sure what the next career path was after an undergraduate, finding an undergraduate degree, not being sure what direction to go in next. But I always was a fan of books and a huge fan of research. I worked at a computer lab in college, and that instruction aspect and that technology aspect was something that always drew me. But I totally forgot that as a child, not as a child, but as a teenager, not long after I got a driver's license, I would drive my grandmother to archives because she did research. She did a lot of local research. So she was like a little local researcher in Mexico, just across the border from where I grew up. And she would write newspaper articles. And I forgot that she was teaching me what a primary source was without intending to. And even though my work is different from the work she did, she always thought I was following in her footsteps working in libraries. So being a librarian in library science was the next natural step.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, actually. Like, so you basically come from like a family line of researchers, like
I inherited this position, yeah.
Yeah, but then it sounds like it was a natural fit.
It really was. Thank you.
That's great. So at this point in the interview, normally this would be the deeper look into who is Esther. And so just to kind of start that off is, what are you reading currently?
Okay, yeah, I just started reading and I'm a good way through an older book. It's kind of one of these new classic nonfiction books from maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I think it was published, but it's called Quiet, The Power of Introverts. They created, it was so popular that they created a youth nonfiction version. And I wish I would have had that when I was a younger person, because I am a very natural introvert. I love connecting. I love being around people, but really one-on-one is best for me, and getting to know you for me is really such a safe place. So this book has taught me a lot about what my superpowers are, what I bring to things, and also I can see that in others too. When somebody is a little bit quieter, this book is teaching me when they're able to prepare well and kind of bring that out in other people, and even when they're not shining, they're helping other people shine, and it's so brilliant. The other book, kind of like somebody else was discussing, I don't have it on me, I thought it was right behind me, is the book The Art of Gathering. It's another nonfiction book. It came out about 2 years ago. It's a 2008 book. And I think it's going to be so powerful for where we're at right now with the quarantine, because I think the book talks a lot about what the intention is for a gathering, including instruction and instruction setting. And I think we're all zoomed out a little bit, you know. So I'm trying to take some of what I learned in The Art of Gathering to redo and reinterpret the way we're doing online instruction to make it a little brighter, a little more intentional, and hopefully make it feel like one less thing to get through and one more thing to be excited about.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, especially now that's incredibly relevant. And even like beyond, like even when we weren't in like quarantine, I imagine it would even be useful for like our professional programs, all those type of like all the like distance learning dimensions to the university. Yeah. And I also wish I had that introvert book like 10 years ago, probably. That would have been really helpful. It sounds like, but no, yeah, and that's also really interesting that it can also probably help to enhance your own like customer service and service to the students. Like I'm sure there's probably many who are also introverts by nature. So
or serving introverts.
Oh yeah, totally. So yeah, good to know. I'll have to contact you later about those books. And so now here's our deepest question, our most personal question, is what is one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
I really don't know how surprised they'd be, but here's kind of my little fun fact. I'm kind of obsessed with Broadway musicals. And it's like the spectrum. When I was in high school, it was Phantom of the Opera, and then Cats, and then more recently Waitress. And I've gotten really, a few years ago, I got into the Stephen Sondheim catalog. So just last week, I rewatched on the PBS version of Company. So I've got all those Company side by side songs in my head nonstop. And earlier this summer, I was listening to a Broadway playlist of I Want songs. Obviously, the most powerful I Want songs are in the Disney musicals. That there must be more than this life, kind of I Want songs. And one of them was from the SpongeBob Broadway musical that actually was nominated for a few Tonys, surprisingly. And right now I'm obsessed with the SpongeBob musical. I used to know all the words to West Side Story. So yeah, that's my kind of obsessed. That's my thing.
That's good to know. I actually never knew there was a SpongeBob musical.
It's very good. Actually, Matthew, you might like it because there's this one song called A Few More, no, this is The Best Day Ever. And they just have a minute or two before the volcano's going to erupt and take over the town. And they're focusing on being present. It's very Zen. It really is. It's very, very Zen, very present about being very mindful and existing in the space you exist in now. It was kind of creeps in,
Yeah, no, that sounds like in my wheelhouse actually. Because I have very few experiences with musicals. Like I think I've attended Wicked. I know for sure when I was coming to San Diego, so that was pretty good.
Oh my God, so great when she starts flying right before the intermission.
Totally. The Gravity song. Yeah, it's totally. So, that's good to know. So I guess if anyone has any questions about musicals, they know who to go to. Awesome. So, and in addition to what you know, and for what people should go to you for, is knowing about our hidden gems of the library. And so that's one of our questions, is to see which one would you recommend out of probably the plethora, the treasure trove of different gems we have. Which one would you pick?
If I was going to pick just one, it would be the digital care package.
Good choice.
That digital care package has so much for students, and it's all together of how to take care of yourself and how much we're trying to take care. The library wants to be there for them when they're at home, including mindful research. Don't get overwhelmed. We're in this together. Recipes, really cool Zoom backgrounds, including the Dallas Campus Library. You could use that as your Zoom background. Tips for studying. Music, the music that'll get you through studying. And then I found the link to the sonnets read by Patrick Stewart on there, and it's been a joy. We have all kinds of other resources that I think are really great that maybe need to be rediscovered, but the digital care package for me, I just think every time I talk about it, people light up and they're not quite aware. So that's the one.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic resource to highlight because, I think a lot of people don't know about it, but when they do, exactly like you said, it seems to bring a smile to their face. And I think that's what the library's there about, to provide that type of sense of satisfaction and contentment, especially right now when it's super stressful, understandably, and super isolating too. So it definitely helps to connect back the USAHS community for sure. Awesome.
Yeah,
So, and, as we talk about, what people can do to, do self-care or other types of like working from home, especially for our students, studying from home and our faculty and staff working from home, is one of our questions we wanted to ask you is like, do you have a tip to offer to people who are working from home and need that extra like oomph to just make it through the day?
Yeah, I do. I have 3 specific tips that I want to share with y'all. And the first one is my little 15-minute sand timer that I bought on Amazon. Now, this
That's
little
awesome.
15-minute timer, what I love about it is I sometimes don't even know where to start. I feel like there's days that I'm in it, and there's days that I'm a little bit untethered. So the days that I'm a little bit untethered, I get my to-do list going, and then I'll say, what can I do in 15 minutes? I turn my little sand clock over, and in those 15 minutes, let me see if I can get this done. And if I can get it done in the first 5 minutes, I move on to the next one. Sometimes if it's a big one and I've made it in the next 15 minutes, the next 5 minutes, I'll walk around, grab a glass of water. That's one that I really enjoy. The second one is I've been doing a quiet study hour from home, if you can see the poster behind me. Now, my quiet study hour from home is, I think, something that you can implement if you have a friend that's in it with you. And what I've been doing, I've been trying to do it live with students, but it doesn't always work out. What works out really well for me is when I call up my friend Suzanne, who actually works in Austin, an old friend, and she's a work from home like us. So we'll both turn on our cameras, we'll connect our webcams, we'll connect on Zoom, and for an hour, I'm just working, looking up, seeing her working quietly, no chat. And then at the end of the hour, we sign off, and I can't believe how much I've gotten done because I feel connected. My third tip is more of a Zoom tip. Right now, we're doing so much digitally. So anything we can do analog is really a superpower. So one thing I learned is the sign language for clap. A lot of people do this over Zoom. This is clap for cheer, and then easy yes, easy no. And I love my little hooray sign that I just made a little pennant of. It seems, all of these seem very simple and a little silly. That's part of the joy of using them, is you're connecting person to person. You're human. We're not just, robots or digital, and we're not learning like, where is the clap button on the Zoom? I'm doing it. I've seen people do like a clap, which is very cute. I've been sticking to my sign language clap, which I know has been popularized during the time of quarantine. So those are my 3. My sand time, my 15-minute sand timer, my Zoom, my virtual quiet study hour, and using analog over Zoom.
Those are fantastic, actually. I might have to adopt those myself. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, sometimes with Zoom or Ring Central or just video conferencing in general, it can be kind of like, it does feel a little stiff sometimes because you don't have that body language. You don't have all that like personalized.
Gesture? Yeah, the power of gesture.
Yeah.
Which is actually, the power of gesture is something that gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it means so much. I know you and I were at a meeting once, and I saw Shayna laugh at something silly. And I felt connected to her as a team member in a way that I hadn't before. She didn't have her camera on. And in addition, I know that there have been studies that show emojis like the shush emoji, the smiley emoji, the hug emoji, the thinking person emoji, all of those, and then the extended vowels when you're texting, we're trying to get the gesture back in, because we are trying to connect, but we've developed a new way to connect. And so the gesture usually tells you, oh, Esther's very excited. She's using her hands, or she's so tired, or whatever, or the laugh, you can obviously see when someone's laughing. And when you're doing it by text, or even like very professionally by Zoom, you lose some of that human interaction. And without that human interaction and that vulnerability, it's not transformative anymore. You need that vulnerability, and you need that human connection so that the message connects. It's not to be necessarily silly. It seems silly, but it really is about this. It's about the connection and getting the message connected.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, because I think what you're touching on too is such an important dimension to human contact is humor. Like, I think that's, a huge part. And I think we don't really realize it until it's gone. And I think right now, we're realizing that, especially now as we talk through Zoom and we're trying to be professional. But sometimes, having those, little moments of humor and expression and gesture like you're talking about. Yeah, totally agree. And I even love the quiet study hour technique, because I think that is another important way of not only getting socialization and like being able to connect with people, but it also kind of provides a sense of accountability to yourself. Like, I need to be productive. I need to get this done, because time as a concept for me has completely gone out the window. So no, those are fantastic tips. Thank you.
My pleasure.
So so with that concludes our interview for today. Unfortunately, we wish we could make it longer, but, I'm sure everyone out there, and especially me, appreciate you spending some time, and we can get to know you and put a face to who Esther is in the library, essentially.
Thank you, Matthew. It's a real honor.
Great. So tune in next time for our next installment of We Are USAHS Library Interview Series. Thank you.